Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President.
Senator Rice, I think I would remind you that your clothing is not appropriate for the chamber.
I was going to seek the indulgence of the chamber to wear my scarf because of its relevance for the speech I'm about to give. But seek leave?
Is there leave? You have leave.
Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President. When the Western Bulldogs beat Greater Western Sydney in the AFL preliminary final a fortnight ago, my partner Penny and myself were on the other side of the world, walking in a remote river valley. The mobile phone reception was patchy, but it was enough for text updates from our son to create a tenuous link between ourselves and home and keep us in touch with the excitement of the game. And when the Dogs won, we went wild, because we're in the grand final, and the last time that was the case, I was 10 months old. This was the day that the West had been waiting for. I'm a proud Westie. I was born and bred in Altona, and I've called Footscray my home for over 25 years. And Footscray, the suburb, has been the underdog just as much as Footscray, the footy team. It has always had a reputation: rough, unsafe, polluted. Of course, this reputation ignores the amazing place that Footscray really is. It's close-knit, it's down-to-earth, it's full of interest and diversity, full of people from all over the world, rich and poor, artists and lawyers, young and old, gay and straight, out and proud. Footscray people walk down the street past shops and restaurants that seem to have been directly transplanted from Saigon or Addis Ababa or Delhi, and we revel in the diversity. We are used to, and in fact even enjoy, not understanding a word that's being spoken around us. Our kids are friends with kids whose families have come from all over the world, and so we know what a vibrant and healthy multicultural society really is. And in particular, the people who live in the western suburbs hang together. We talk to our neighbours, we look out for each other, we support each other in tackling discrimination and in our various struggles. And the footy team reflects this. It's ever been the underdog. There has been never enough resources. It's always been a struggle, and it knows that it lives or dies from the support it gets from the community it's part of. It's very easy to be a tribe, a family, to have a sense of belonging when that tribe is homogeneous and successful. It's much more difficult when your tribe is made up of all sorts and you're always battling to survive. And the strength of the Bulldogs, and indeed the wider western suburbs, is that our tribe is expansive and welcoming and encouraging of all comers. And that's why even making the grand final was so special. Almost everyone across the West feels part of the team. We have that sense of belonging. We felt that the win was ours. I mean, I've been a Bulldogs member for 20 years or so. I've tried to get to as many home games as I can, but my diary has meant I've missed a lot this year. And I have to admit, while I'm passionate enough to have proudly worn my red, white and blue scarf all day after their magnificent win over Hawthorn the week prior to the GWS win, I'm not so much of a believer that we were prompted by that win to reorganise our planned fortnight's holiday. I suppose I didn't think that they really would be able to do it. And like many other Bulldogs supporters, I'd come to terms with that feeling of coming so close but not quite close enough. And after the preliminary final win, my rational self said it was such a pity I wasn't going to be home to see the Dogs play in their first grand final in 55 years. Penny and I would find somewhere to watch the game and enjoy it vicariously. But then how much it meant really hit home. My social media feeds were swamped with news of our community across the West being more Bulldog, joyously, wildly more Bulldog. And the prospect of a fabulous grand final involving my beloved Bulldogs probably in the end would have been enough for my emotional self to overrule my rational self and for me to reorganise my flights and to come home early. But it was the realisation of just how much this game meant to our community, how much it was bringing us together, how much I just had to be part of it, that made my mind up. So I arrived back in Melbourne on 10 p.m. Friday night. I was up early grand final day and spent the morning catching up with friends and fellow supporters. And then, like so many of my fellow Bulldogs supporters, I got to the MCG for my first ever grand final. Because average footy followers like me don't go to a grand final unless your team is playing. And of course, an awful lot of them still don't get to go, and I feel very privileged for being able to get a ticket. And as everyone now knows, the match was exceptional. The Swans put up a gallant fight, but the Bulldogs were dogged, determined and, in putting it simply, just awesome. Even so, it wasn't until the last few minutes of the game that it became clear that they were going to make history and win their first premiership for 62 years. Now, I congratulate everyone at the club for this incredible achievement. I thank them for the extraordinary joy they have brought to so many people. But even more, I congratulate them on the incredible role they play in bringing people together. People of incredible diversity who feel part of the family. People who range from the old bloke I met years ago when I was on Maribyrnong Council, who had no family, no friends, no community connections other than the footy club. He lived for the footy club, and whether the Bulldogs won or lost each week, it really mattered to him. And the hope of there's always next week, there's always next year, kept him going. Then there are people like my neighbours who saved the coverage in the Sunday Herald Sun the day after, just in case that we hadn't seen it. And the interwoven friends, families, neighbours, colleagues, small business owners, political friends and foes, professors and childcare workers, truck drivers and public servants. Vietnamese families, African families, Indigenous families, Muslim families, with the women wearing red, white and blue hijabs. This is multicultural Australia. This is belonging. This is family. And it gives me hope that despite the racism that is alight in our community, that we will be able to rise above it, to share and celebrate our common humanity, to have our family, our tribe, our circle of care extend to all, regardless of race, gender identity and sexuality. The Bulldogs are leading the way in women's football. They've had 2 premierships this year, Footscray in the VFL, as well as the big AFL Grand Final win. Let's go for 3 next year when the Women's League is up and running and cement the role of women in Australian rules as being so much more than just wives and girlfriends. And finally, I'm so impressed with the brilliant but humble coaching of Luke Beveridge and the wisdom and care and spiritual leadership of Bob Murphy. They are so removed from the caricature of aggressive, arrogant alpha males that is so often associated with AFL success. They are role models for different ways of relating, connecting, collaborating and winning. And I would be so pleased if it was at the Western Bulldogs that gay players had the courage to come out. There are hundreds of AFL players every season. It is inconceivable that none of them are gay. Maybe it will be easier for a past player to come out, to open the floodgates, to build on the incredible courage of Jason Ball, and to feel supported by initiatives like the Pride Game launched this season. It's going to be at a club like the Western Bulldogs where everyone is family, everyone is accepted for who they are, everyone belongs, that the breakthrough is likely to occur. Now, the big question, of course, is what is it going to mean to my beloved Western suburbs? Will it change our collective mindset? As we stand taller on the shoulders of our premiership winning team, will we also feel that we are ready to cast off all that's been thrown at us all these years, to fully accept that we too can be winners, that we don't need to accept second best, that we are not going to take second best anymore, that we will support and encourage those amongst us that are doing it tough, to find their way, to be able to contribute, to belong, to join us in striving for greatness. Here's to the Bulldogs, here's to footy, here's to a community where we celebrate all and share our wins with each other.